Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Realms, and today I have a review for one of the latest Scream Factory releases, and it is for The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which this release also marks the very first official release of this movie, which came out in 1976, directed by Charles Pierce, which also did The Legend of Boggy Creek, and The Evictors, which is included on this release as an added bonus. Really cool that they did that. I'm not really sure what else the guy did. But this movie tells the story of a serial killer that popped up in Texarkana in the summer of 1946. Actually, in the spring. Yeah, late winter, early spring. He just, out of nowhere, this guy and his girlfriend were out, and he pops up, opens their hood, and all of a sudden they see him standing in front of the car, and he has this hood on here, as you see. And he kills the guy, the girl crawls away, and everybody's really afraid because they're not, this is just totally unheard of in the 1940s. And then slowly, one after one, people start showing up, getting killed, and nobody exactly knows who this is at all. Like, there's no clues. The police, they think that they're getting very close to him, but they're not. Captain J.D. Morrell, played by Ben Johnson, is on the case, and there's a few times where he thinks he almost has him, but he just doesn't. Actually, they almost do catch him, but they just never do. And suddenly he just disappears after I think it was 5 murders, and was never seen or heard from again, and the case went unsolved. And this film is loosely based on a true story. It really happened. I know that the murders really happened. I know that he was never found. There is some speculation that this serial killer may have been another serial killer. I can't remember which one, another famous one, but it slips my mind right now. But it's all purely speculation. But I'm not sure how much of this was actually accurate. I do know that it's loosely based. But I mean, a lot of it, as far as like people that were actually killed, I mean, I know they were speculating on a lot of that because they don't know exactly how it went down. I mean, they know how the person was murdered, as far as gunshot wounds or whatever, but like things leading up to it, there's purely speculation. But this was, I'm just going to go ahead and say, really my first time seeing this film. I saw it years ago on VHS, and I'm not even sure I saw the whole thing. I may have just saw pieces of it, but it played like, a completely fresh viewing to me. So really, this was my first time seeing the film. And for the most part, I liked the film. And the reason why I say for the most part is there's just things in this film that didn't work for me, and the main thing is how it has these hokey moments that just make no sense. I mean, you got a film that starts off, it's basically a crime docudrama horror film is what this is. There's narration over the beginning that talks about this town that's coming out of the war. There's a lot of new industry, new businesses, and everybody, there's a good sense, there's a good morale. Everybody's very optimistic, and then it talks about this killer that comes in, and it starts to show, one by one what he did, and there's continues to be narration throughout the film, so it's played up very serious. And then you get to these moments where there's this hokey music that comes in. There's this very, I don't know, this comedy they try to put in that just doesn't work. It does not fit the tone of the film at all. I didn't care for it. I mean, maybe, repeat viewings or whatever, I'll like that a little bit more, but it just threw me off because I wasn't expecting that. Not knowing really much about the film, except for, a few friends that really liked it. I did not know that those things were in this film. And there's one part that really, the worst part of all of that is these two cops. They're trying to play the role of a boyfriend and girlfriend. One of the cops is dressed up in drag and is acting like the woman. I mean, they really try to play up the comedy element there, and there's this terrible horn section comedy music playing in with it. I just didn't like it at all. But overall, that is, pretty much a small gripe, because everything else in this film really worked. I thought I liked the cast. I really liked that the guy that played the police captain, and also Andrew Prine that plays Deputy Norman Ramsey. I liked him a lot. And the main thing that I liked about this is the killer here. And the way they're showing him here, they show his eyes a lot better than that in the actual film. I really loved the killer in this film. He tremendously worked well. And, you can't help but draw the comparisons to Friday the 13th Part 2. But this character, this Phantom as they call him, is much more creepy than Jason Voorhees in this sackcloth mask. There's a lot of scenes where they show him a lot and pretty prominent in the film. And when they show him up close, his eyes, he's just got this crazy look. And the way he's breathing, he's always breathing the mask into his mouth, breathing it out, breathing it in, breathing it out. And it's just, they really did the character very well. And there are some genuinely creepy scenes in this film. And there's a few that take place out in the woods, that's just, there's some good suspenseful, creepy moments. Now there is one scene with this killer that was kind of hokey too, and I didn't get. Maybe it really is tied in with a real murder or what, but there's this part with a trumpet. And I won't ruin it for people who haven't seen it, but it just didn't work, and I don't really see how the guy killed the woman. That scene I just didn't understand. Perhaps I need to watch that scene again, and maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention, but it just didn't work. That whole scene, I don't know, I didn't like that either. But overall, it's a really good film. It's a good, like I said, a crime drama documentary horror film that's pretty damn unique. And the voice narration, I like that because it did give it a documentary type feel despite it being a very cinematic film. And I really don't understand how this film hasn't had a proper release until now. Not at all. If you consider all the things that they put out on DVD and Blu-ray these days, you've got films like all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films. The sequels are just no holds barred, even though, I love the film and I'm glad it's out on DVD. In comparison, this is a much better made film than that. I just don't understand how this film is set on the sidelines for so long. Maybe it was tied up with rights. I have no idea. I haven't looked at any of that. Maybe somebody out there can say something more on that I don't know. But it's a really good film, guys. I'm going to give this film a 7 out of 10. I highly recommend it, and I highly recommend this release also because the Blu-ray looks really good. I'll give the picture quality an 8 out of 10. They really cleaned it up well. It looks really good. It's not fantastic or reference quality material or anything for a catalog title, but it still looks really, really good. I was very impressed with it. And I only briefly got to skim over the special features on this. I unfortunately did not get to hear the commentary yet, but it does have a commentary with Jim Presley, which is narrated by Justin Bean, which is very tied in with the Halloween franchise. Very cool guy if you don't know who he is, but I hear that that's a very good documentary. The historian Jim Presley, I guess, knows a lot on the actual case, and I've heard very high marks on this commentary, and I was hoping to check it out before this review, but I just didn't get a chance. There's an interview with actors Andrew Prine and Don Wells, which Don Wells you will recognize from Gilligan's Island. It played Marianne, I believe. Yeah, right away I recognized her. I'm like, damn, who is that? And I looked her up. Oh, how could I forget that? Gilligan's Island. But it does have an interview with them, and I did not get to see that either. The theatrical trailer. It has an essay by Walter Albright. I just briefly glanced over that too, and a poster is still gallery. So yeah, really, I didn't check out the special features too much. I just didn't have time and just, went through them very quickly. But it does look like there's some interesting features here. And then, of course, you have the biggest and most awesome bonus feature, which is his Charles Pierce's other film, The Evictors, which is supposedly a ghost story. And I did happen to look in here, and lo and behold, look who is in this film. I'm sure a lot of you will recognize her. It is Jennifer Harper from Suspiria. So yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. Maybe I'll even do a review of that. Who knows? But I don't really know anything about that film. I don't know if it's good, bad, horrible, in middle of the road or what. So yeah, guys, this is a highly recommended release. I highly recommend picking up. If you've never seen this film, it's worth the blind buy, and if you're a fan of this film, you must own this film. Get rid of your bootleg, replace your old beat up VHS, and go with this, because guys, Scream Factory really did an awesome job with this for a well-deserved film. So yeah, guys, that is all. I am Jason, and I appreciate you watching Beyond the Realms, guys. Have a good one.